Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Hello dear students, I am Dr. Mona Semalti from HNB Garhwal University, Srinagar, Garhwal. So dear students, welcome all of you in this module, and today in this module uh, of prescription, I am going to tell you in details about prescription. And in the previous module we discussed about introduction to dosage form, and I introduced you to the India Pharmacopoeia, United States Pharmacopoeia, European Pharmacopoeia. So today we are going to see about prescription. So dear students, after going through from this module, you are going to learn about prescription, what is prescription, what are different parts of prescription, handling of prescription, and different modern methods of prescribing the dosage form, things to know while dispensing, and errors in prescription. So this is going to be our lesson plan. So we will follow these topics one by one in this module. So now introduction to prescription. So dear students, you might have heard of prescription. Okay, you might have heard of prescription when you visit to doctor, then doctor prescribes you certain medicines. Then what you do? You go back to the chemist shop and you give that prescription order to the chemist. Okay, then that chemist is going to give you the medicines based on the prescription. So what it is basically? So let me try to understand you that prescription, it is a written order from a registered medicinal practitioner to pharmacist to compounding and dispensing a specific medication for the patient. Okay, the prescriptions are generally written in English language, but the Latin words or abbreviations are frequently used in prescription to order in order to save the time, because a doctor has to save his little bit time, so he uses abbreviations and Latin words, some Latin words. So I will discuss those things also in this module. So we can say that the prescription, it is a direct link between the doctor and patient and the pharmacist. Okay, the doctor is going to prescribe the medicines, pharmacist is going to dispense the medicine, and the patient is going to take the medicine. So that prescription is important for all three people: doctor who prescribes, pharmacist who dispense, and patient who take the medicines. Okay, so this is an introduction of prescription. Now moving to the parts of prescription. So as I told you that it is a written order from the registered medical practitioner, that means our doctors. So it has some parts and it has to be written in proper order by the medical practitioner. Alright, so date, name, age and sex and address of the patient. It is written on the top of the prescription, then superscription, then inscription, subscription, signa or signature, and renewal instruction, that when your prescription is going to be renewed, then signature, address and registration number of prescriber. So these are parts of prescription. So let us discuss these parts one by one. The very first thing, date. So date, as we all write, so this is our usual habit to write the date on whatever whether we write some notes or some any other our daily document in so date, it is generally like it is the very first thing which comes in mind, that it has to be written date. So it is going to help the pharmacist to find out the date of prescribing. Okay, so if it is written dated so and so, so the pharmacist will come to know that your prescription is written on this date, particular date. And prescription which prescribes the especially the narcotic or other habit forming drugs must bear the date. Okay, to avoid the misuse of prescription if it is presented by the patient in a number of time for dispensing. So next is name, age, sex and address of patient. That means the name of the patient, patient's age, address of the patient, it has to be written. So in a case if any of this information is missing in the prescription, so it is going to be very difficult for the pharmacist to calculate the dose sometimes. Okay, and because the doses may differ from age, from age of the patient, sex of the patient, because doses are different for male and female sometimes, and age of course for the children we use different doses which are prescribed by the prescriptioner. Okay, so all this information, it has to be written on prescription. Next is superscription. Superscription, it is represented by a symbol RX. Okay, so what this symbol is all about? So superscription, it is a Latin word. It means you take. In the previous by the in the older days, the symbol was originated from the sign of Jupiter, god of healing. It was meant symbolizing that the prescription with the sign of Jupiter, god of healing. So this symbol was employed by the ancient people in requesting to God for the quick recovery of the patient. Inscription. Okay, inscription, this is the main part of the prescription. It contains the name and the quantity of prescribed ingredients. So the name of each ingredient is written on the separate line along with its quantity. So it is divided in a few parts. Let's see what are these parts. Base, adjuvant and vehicle. Base, it is the active medicament, okay, which are intended to produce the therapeutic effect. Active medicament, just like active ingredient in the dosage form, which is responsible for giving the therapeutic effect, that is base. Adjuvant, it is included either to enhance the action of the medicament or to improve the palatability or the bad and taste and odor of the preparation. Vehicle, it is included in the prescription either to dissolve the solid ingredient or to increase the volume of preparation. So you can take example of the you can take example of liquid dosage form, which is usually prescribed for the kids, and you might have heard from the medicinal practitioner that okay, take this bottle and fill it with the mark with the boil water, just boil the water and cool it and then fill it and shake it properly, so like that. So this is this type of instructions are given, okay, either to dissolve the solid ingredients or to increase the volume of the preparation. But nowadays what happens, the majority of the drugs are prescribed which are already in the suitable formulation, so you need not to do anything with the formulation, whether it is a suspension, solution, syrup, or any other type of dosage form. So the pharmacist is just required to give the instructions that how to take the doses of that particular medicine. Okay. Now, subscription. See what subscription is. Subscription, it comprises the direction for the pharmacist for the preparation, for preparing the prescription and the number of doses to be dispensed. Okay, and signatura, it is a Latin term. Signa, you can also write like this. So this consists of directions to be given to the patient regarding the administration of the drug, that how the patient is going to take that medicine. Okay, so it is usually written as SIG in the short form in the prescription. So it means the direction to the pharmacist for preparing the prescription and the number of doses to be dispensed. So this is about subscription. Okay, the instructions given in the prescription are required to be transferred to the container in which the medicament is to be dispensed. It also includes these instructions so that the patient can follow it. Okay, so these instructions may include like the quantities to be taken, the frequency and the timing and administration of, or the application, the route of administration, the which route of administration has to be route, and the special instructions to be followed by the patient. Now, renewal instructions. Renewal instruction, the prescriber, the registered medical practitioner indicate on every prescription order whether it may be renewed or not, and if it has to be renewed, when it has to be renewed. So that date is also mentioned on the prescription. Then signature, address and registration number of the prescriber. Okay, signature, address and registration number of the prescriber. This is written. Why this is written? Because in case if anything goes wrong, if by mistake something which is written on the prescription is not correct, okay, so the pharmacist can notice that thing and can by referring the address and the contact details of the prescriber, the pharmacist can confirm back from the medicinal practitioner. So all these things are written on the prescription. Now, till now in this module, we discussed the important things to know about prescription, what is prescription, and what are different parts of prescription. So dear students, just remember different parts and their description. So this topic is very easy, and I think you have enjoyed that what are different parts of prescription and for what it is to for what reason it has to be written on the prescription. Now moving to the handling of prescription. Handling is some procedure which has to be adopted by the pharmacist while handling the prescription for compounding and dispensing, like receiving, reading, checking, collecting and weighing of the material, compounding, labeling, packing. Okay. Receiving, just prescription should be revised from the patient by the pharmacist himself. While receiving the prescription, pharmacist receives the prescription, and it is like the pharmacist should not change his facial expression, which gives an impression to the patient of whether something is wrong in the prescription or like that. It is a general perception of a person's. When someone receives something, you should receive with some positive gesture. All right, so it should be taken care by pharmacist. Reading and checking, yes, of course, the pharmacist, it is the duty of the pharmacist to read and check the prescription properly. He has to read the prescription very carefully, because he is going to dispense the medicine based on that prescription. So that is why it is important. Collecting and weighing of material, so this we are talking. But nowadays, as I told you in my previous slide, that almost all the formulations, which are all the medicines which are prescribed by the prescribers, are already in some formulation form already. We can say already it is in some sort of dosage form. Okay, so anyway, this we have to you should know that what handling of prescription is all about. Then collecting, weighing and weighing of the material. So before compounding prescription, all the materials required for it should be collected. Okay, collected on the left hand side of the balance. After weighing the material, it should be shifted to the right hand side of the balance, and then the pharmacist can collect, weigh and can do the weighing of material. Now, this gives a check of ingredients which have been weighed. While compounding, the label of every stock bottle should be read at least thrice, 3 times a day. Just like if pharmacist takes some bottle, oh my god, this is written, okay, fine. Again he has to check. Okay, I am correcting it, yeah. I am confirming it, yes. Okay, so when taken from the shelf or the drawer, when contents removed for weighing and measuring, and then the containers are returned back to its proper place with the mentioned quantities. Okay. Compounding, labeling and packaging. See, compounding should be carried out in a neat and clean place. So all the equipment required should be thoroughly cleaned, dried. Only one prescription should be compounded at one time. The compounded medicament should be filled in the suitable container depending on its quantity and use. Okay, now next is the filling. The filled containers are labeled, while the plain white paper of good quality should be used while labeling, and the labeling which is mentioned should be clear, complete clear, should be clear, and container is polished so as to remove the fingerprint. Okay, while so all these things are also important. But nowadays, what happens, that majority of the drug, as I said, is already available in some sort of formulation. So, it should be prescribed by its official name and not by its proprietary or trade name. Okay. Now, modern methods of prescribing. What are the advantage of prescribing by modern methods? It's easy to remember the proprietary because they are very catchy. It is easy to communicate with the patient, and continuity can be maintained by prescribing the same proprietary name every time, and the bioavailability of the drug changes with the change in the adjuvant used in the drug formulation manufactured by different manufacturers. So only those proprietary drugs can be prescribed which have better bioavailability. Now, what are disadvantages of prescribing by modern method? Is cheaper to prescribe the drug by its official name. and it becomes very difficult for the pharmacist to dispense the substitute of the drug which is available in the stock. So there are four types of prescriptions which are generally received by the retail drug store: prescription in general practice, and private prescription, and hospital prescriptions means for outpatient and inpatient prescription. Okay, these four types of prescriptions are received by the retail drug store. Now look at few things which are important to be taken care while dispensing the prescription. So very first thing, always keep the prescription before you. So this is for pharmacists. Take the prescription with you while taking out the medicine from the shelf. And so this are very easy things but important things. Always check the dispensing balance before weighing the ingredients which are required and these things are going to help you to avoid the mistake during dispensing. Okay, replace the container of stock preparation or the drugs in their proper place. Clean the label in the upper position during weighing and weighing of the solid ingredients, especially for in case of the potent drugs such as morphine, hydrochloride, to serve as a constant reminder that the correct drug is to be used by the patient. And one more thing, like while pouring and measuring the liquid ingredient, keep the label upward in order to prescription surplus running down of the bottle and staining the label. So care should be taken for these things. And medicines which are used externally, such as lotion, liniment, paint, and should be supplied in a vertically fluted and fibbed bottle in order to distinguish by their touch. And before handing over the medicine to the pain, again check before handing over the medicines to the patient, again check that the correct prescription, the correct strength has been supplied, and the correct direction is to be stated on the label. Now, errors in prescription. Errors in prescription, the possibility of error. What is the possibility of error in prescription? Abbreviation, number one. Abbreviation sometimes presents a problem in understanding the part of the prescription. Okay, because it might be possible sometimes for pharmacists that he is not getting the abbreviations. So this is to be taken care that if he or she is unaware of that abbreviation, so you should refer that abbreviation, the details of its abbreviation, before dispensing. So the extreme care should be taken by the pharmacist in interpreting that what exactly it means. Okay. Name of the drug. Okay, there are certain drugs whose name sounds like those other drugs. Maybe. Okay, so some of the examples which are like digitoxin and digoxin. These are two different drugs, but the name seems little similar if you do not listen it properly or do not read it properly, right? So it may form a kind of error in prescription. Strength of preparation. The strength of preparation should be stated by the prescriber. Okay, so this is important when various strength of the products are available in the market. So this is very important, especially in case of potent medicines, that it has to be taken care. Doses, form of the drug prescribed. Many medicines, these are available in the liquid doses form, solid doses form, and maybe in other kind of doses form. So the pharmacist should only dispense the type of dosage form which is mentioned in the prescription. Okay, if it is like say for example, the paracetamol syrup is prescribed by whatever the brand name. Okay, so paracetamol tablet is also available. So the pharmacist should not do like, if the syrup, paracetamol syrup is not available in the stock, so he will give the paracetamol tablet instead. So this should not be practiced. Why? Because it is also possible that the syrup, the medical practitioners, they prescribe syrup generally for the kids, and kids may not be able to take the tablet, may not be able to swallow the tablet. So that syrup which is prescribed is intentionally prescribed for the keeping in view the convenience of the patient, keeping in view that patient will be comfortable to take it. Okay. Next is dose. So dose usually high or low doses should be discussed with the prescriber, and especially pediatric doses may be present. So there may be change in the dose for the kids. So the pharmacist should consult to the pediatric posology to avoid an error, and should give instructions, clear instructions for that particular dosage form. Next is instructions for the patient. So this is also very important, like the instructions of the patients which are given in the prescription are if it is incomplete or if it is omitted, so patient may get confused that how to take it, or what are the precautions which has to be taken while taking this particular medicines, or whatever the thing may be. So the quantity of the drug is to be taken, the frequency of its administration, timing of its administration, and route of administration should be clearly given in the prescription so as to avoid any confusion. So timing is also important, and frequency and other instructions, that if some medicine has to be taken anti-stomach. So this is the responsibility of pharmacist who is dispensing the medicine, who is giving the prescription. So to tell the patient that this particular medicine has to be taken anti-stomach, it has to be taken immediately after the breakfast, or so. Okay. So next is incompatibilities in prescription. So this is also part of error in prescription. So it is very important to check that there are no pharmaceutical or therapeutic incompatibility in a prescribed prescription, and if one or two different medicines are prescribed at the same time, so they should not be incompatible with each other. Okay. So say for example, certain antibiotics should not be given with the meals, since it significantly decreases its absorption, and ultimately it is going to affect its bioavailability. So it should be taken care that if there are two medicines or more than two medicines, or the drugs are prescribed to the patient, it should not be incompatible with, in terms of whether pharmaceutical incompatibility or therapeutic incompatibility. So this is about error in prescription.